Brilliant. Scott, just to watch training, great sense of enthusiasm out there, great sense of energy, but let's be honest, everyone wants that opening match week to roll around at this stage. A lot of the hard work done.
We're 2 weeks in, 2 weeks into sort of full-time camp, so we're still working through a few things. What I can't fault the girls with is the intent they bring to it. So we're getting intent, we're getting competition, and hopefully that keeps driving standards. But get to that first game, and then we'll know.
How important is that extended period together as a group? Like, that's the ultimate way to build cohesion off the back of the WXV last year and the Celtic Challenge. That perhaps one of the failings in recent years has been not enough time together as a squad.
Yeah, prep camp, you can't really replace it. Now, normally with WXV, you get 3-4 weeks coming into a camp, and that might be in the summer period. So you generally have players being pulled in fewer directions. You come into this time of year, there's obviously the Celtic Challenge has just concluded. You've obviously got girls playing in the UK, you've also got the AL stuff going on. So there's a few more pulls on players, and having 3-4 weeks in together just to map out exactly how you're going to go about what you want to do is pivotal for us.
The hunger that seems to exist and the commitment from players to do an awful lot of work outside of these field sessions or these times as well. Like, how impressed have you been by that, and how much of a responsibility is it on them to be 24/7 athletes, be it preparation or be it heads in laptops working on what it is you need?
That's a great question. The world's evolving. Rugby is professionalising. There's girls that are professional rugby players. There's girls that are still involved that are working outside of this. So actually, it's probably the application of knowing when to dial up certain elements of your life and dial them down, and where to put your focus. So we talk about professionalism, but there's an awful amount of intent, like high intent for the girls to be as good as they can be off the pitch, to be as good as they can on it. Look, it's an evolving world. This is still new water really for us, but we're a year or two in it now. It's accelerating quickly.
Is it cliched or is it outdated then to talk about perhaps Irish rugby still playing catch up on England and France in particular, or can we still talk about what people have discussed in recent years as maybe being a 2-tier Six Nations?
No, I think how fast it's come in. So players have always been trying to live their best professional life. You know, elite sport is elite. We understand where we are in this. This is sort of year two, really of a project, and it's going to keep going. So it's accelerating quickly. We know where we need to get to. So we know where our North Star is, and so we know the kind of the gaps that we've got to close. So it allows us to not take shortcuts, but it allows us to know exactly where we're heading, gives us a bit of purpose, and we know how to get there. So that's the journey we're on now.
And ultimately, the end of this championship will tell you if you're on course to where you thought you'd be, or if you're ahead, or where you are relative to where you might have expected to be.
Absolutely. Look, WXV gave us a reasonable start, but the competition level was the competition level. It was nice to get some win, nice to build some confidence, but we know Six Nations is much harder. We've got 3 home games. Okay, 3 games that we think we can be really competitive in, and we're going to do our damnedest to.
Are you a fan of moving them around and giving people an opportunity to see the team, or would you like maybe one base to try and turn into a fortress?
Do you know what? Having done this before, I think it's really important to connect with the Irish public. So going out and around gives us a chance to take the best of us and show people what we can do. We want people along with us, and we've got to take them along with us. So we've got to give them something to cheer. So taking it out to the provinces is the way to do it.
And in a way, it's almost a competition within a competition this year as well. There's the Six Nations Championship, which is important, but there's also the Rugby World Cup qualification element within it, and that seems to be almost as big a goal as the championship itself.
I would say that's, if anybody was to ask me what do we want out of this Six Nations, it's World Cup qualification. It's one of our strategic priorities for the RFU. Something we've got to go after. Look, how we go after it, there's some home games that we want to do really well in. There's some away games that we believe we can go over and fire some shots in. So we know what we want out of this. We'd like to pick up wins. We'd like to fire some shots, but ultimately we've got to qualify for that World Cup.
A lot made from the squad announcement of the 5 players from the 7s who come back in an Olympic year. It seems to surprise people. How did that come about?
Well, look, there's a talent pool in Ireland that we need to maximise. So we're very aligned from both programmes. Myself and Alan Temple-Jones have a great working relationship where we know we need to pool our players, and we need to release them at the right times, the right points to achieve success on 2 fronts. So it's where it is at the minute. It's great to get their support. We'll offer them support back, and we'll kind of choose game by game as to what we need to achieve.
So it is potentially a match by match basis.
I think it'll be a little bit more settled than that. I think we'll have a plan that we'll be able to follow. So, giving the players best chance of success, really, rather than just flippantly in and out. I think there'll be a process to follow.
How impressed are you with the talent pool that's at your disposal, and are those selection problems increasing for you exactly where a coach would want to be by virtue of the Celtic Challenge, by virtue of the growing player pool that's at your disposal?
I'll say I've been here 6 months, and I'll say it's developed already. The goal is, by the time we qualify for the World Cup and we get to go to England in 2025, the goal is to have 45 players that are fighting it out for a selection of 32, 34 players, whatever it is at that point. We've moved forward from where we were in WXV. We sat down and some girls coming through that will be new capped or uncapped at this point, but could actually show what they can do in the Six Nations stage.
Yeah, because like when your name was linked with the job and when you were appointed, a lot of people were kind of saying, well, why would he leave the successful setup he's been a part of to come to what has been a difficult programme, a challenging programme in recent years? But you obviously see significant untapped potential here.
Oh, I think there's loads of untapped potential. I went and watched the under-18 Interpros the other day. There's girls coming through that very, very quickly will get opportunity to shine on the international stage. So we know there's going to be some accelerating of players, but there's some really exciting talent here.
And when we look at, say, the squads of 2013 and 15, like it's a lifetime ago at this stage, but they're such iconic figures within the game. But we look at the squad that you have now, are players who are picking up rugby balls, at 6, 7, 8 years of age. The pathway and the kind of muscle memory, the culture of playing rugby for the current group is much different from what's gone in the past.
Yeah, very possibly. Look, you will always get talent transfer. You'll always get people coming into the game. I think in our game, I think that will always exist. But by girls playing younger, they bring way more layers, way more experiences to them to the international stage. So we still know what it takes to be successful on the international stage, and I think we've got the talent pool that would go after those pillars.
To finish, do you talk about expectations for the championship or a defined goal for the championship, or is that
absolutely
okay?
Qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's a really important piece for us and for the Irish public. We want to give people chances to support us on the international stage. The Six Nations is an unbelievably good tournament, but going to a World Cup is the next layer on to add to that. So we want to go. We want to go and we want to be successful in the Six Nations. We want to put performances in. We want people to be able to support it. So we think if we fire shots, people will see what we can be about, and then we want to grow that going into the World Cup.
So we don't appear to be as far away from the halcyon days as some people might like to say we are.
I think we've got to be realistic in terms of what and how. At the moment, we can sit here and say we're going to be really, really successful, but we're untested in a Six Nations. So for us, taking confident performance and going and delivering, we've got 3 home games, 3 opportunities to pack stadiums out, to make some noise, and actually to sort of grow the team of us. A great opportunity.
Wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.